Eternalism for Beginners, Unit 17, Overview Quiz. Welcome to our Unit 17 Overview Quiz, where you will deepen your understanding of the Gospel and the philosophy of eternalism. This short exercise includes 6 true or false questions with answers and brief explanations. Afterward, we'll work through the Unit 17 assignment to structure Scrabble letters A and B into 2- and 3-tier frameworks. In this exercise, there are 6 true or false questions. Question number 1. The best way to understand and appreciate the strengths of 3-tier thinking is to focus on its threefold nature: foundational, transitional, and contextual. Answer: true. Explanation: 3-tier thinking is built on these 3 aspects, which work together to clarify relationships between foundational and derivative contexts. Question number 2. 3-tier thinking helps keep foundational and derivative contexts in hierarchical order. Answer: true. Explanation: this is one of the key strengths of 3-tier thinking. It organizes context to clarify their relationships. Question number 3. The philosophical misstep of contextual equivalence is treating both foundational and derivative contexts as foundational. Answer: true. Explanation: the misstep ignores the hierarchy between foundational and derivative contexts, leading to confusion and misalignment. Question number 4. The response, "It depends," to primacy issues correctly gives Tier 1 status to both foundational and derivative hierarchies. Answer: false. Explanation: the response, "It depends," reflects the error of contextual equivalence, treating foundational and derivative hierarchies as equal, instead of maintaining the primacy of foundational contexts. Question number 5. The root error of situational ethics is the failure to distinguish between foundational and derivative contexts. Answer: true. Explanation: situational ethics treats all contexts as equal, ignoring the primacy of foundational principles. For example, it might justify stealing to feed a starving person, overlooking the foundational principle of respecting property rights. Question number 6. One doesn't need to understand that Tier 1 status is reserved for the foundational context and its hierarchical content to say, "Okay, I get it." Answer: false. Explanation: understanding that Tier 1 status is exclusive to foundational contexts and their content is essential to grasping the principles of 3-tier thinking. In this exercise, we'll test our understanding of 2- and 3-tier thinking by prioritizing the 2 contexts and 2 terms in both 2- and 3-tier frameworks. If you haven't tried this yet, pause the podcast, grab some scratch paper, and give it a shot. If you're ready, let's dive in. Let's start with the familiar 2-tier framework by asking, which has Tier 1 primacy, A or B? Notice the emphasis on Tier 1, making its importance explicit. At this point, many students get caught in the "it depends" dilemma, thinking it hinges on context, without understanding the significance of assigning Tier 1 status. If alphabetical order is prioritized, A should be above B. If Scrabble value is prioritized, B goes above A, hence, it depends. What most students don't realize is the fallacy of contextual equivalence at play, where Tier 1 status is mistakenly given to both foundational and derivative contexts. This creates confusion and disrupts clear philosophical thought. That's why introducing the principle of contextual primacy is so crucial. Let's turn to that now. Now, let's shift from content to context by asking, which has contextual primacy, the alphabet or the Scrabble tiles? Or put another way, which depends on which? Does the game of Scrabble depend on the alphabet for its structure and assigned values? Or does the alphabet depend on the game of Scrabble? The answer is clear. Scrabble a word game, relies on the alphabet. Without letters and words, there's no game. The alphabet is foundational and holds Tier 1 status, while the Scrabble tiles, with their assigned values, are derivative and hold Tier 2 status. This hierarchy underscores the importance of mapping foundational and derivative context in three-tier thinking and avoiding the fallacy of contextual equivalence by assigning Tier 1 status to both the alphabet and Scrabble tiles. Now we're ready to break down the key aspects of three-tier thinking, its foundational, transitional, and contextual nature. We start with the alphabet as the foundational context, assigning A before B in tiers 1 and 2 based on alphabetical order. Then we move to the derivative context of Scrabble, assigning the values of tiles B and A to tiers 2 and 3. Notice the familiar orange color marking B at tier 2, highlighting its transitional and pivotal role, and the orange asterisk on the second A in tier 3, signaling the shift from the foundational context to the derivative. We see then that three-tier thinking effectively maps out and captures all the key aspects to consider when addressing primacy issues across every branch of philosophy, making it an invaluable tool moving forward. To wrap up this exercise, notice that on the left, we've laid out the key aspects of two-tier thinking, focusing on the alphabet in Scrabble. This includes the implicit foundational and derivative contexts that are often ignored. On the right, we've expanded to three-tier thinking. Here we see the primacy of content within a context, A over B in the alphabet, and B over A in Scrabble, and the primacy of context with the alphabet given foundational primacy, tiers 1 and 2, and Scrabble assigned derivative context, tiers 2 and 3. This demonstrates why three-tier thinking is a more advanced and effective way of analyzing complex issues. I hope this exercise has been helpful and that you're ready to use these tools to tackle some of the most controversial and misunderstood primacy issues in philosophy. Thank you for participating. Join us for Unit 18 as we explore deeper insights into two- and three-tier thinking and their roles in fully understanding the gospel and the philosophy of eternalism. In the meantime, revisit Unit 6, the unified nature of philosophy, as a background for our upcoming Unit 18 discussion.